Hello, Speech 1. So let's talk about what you can expect today and then this entire week. All right, so today I'm going to teach you how to choose a persuasive topic and how to research two sources, and you'll have time to do that. Choose your topic and research. Tomorrow, I'll tell you a story. Then your lesson is how to best write your persuasive speech rough draft. I'm going to give you a template and then give you time tomorrow to write that rough draft using the template. Thursday, some of you will be out to take the AccuPlacer. The lesson is how to write the persuasive final draft, and then you'll get time to write the final draft. I did promise you that in scheduling, I was going to try to keep it to 3 tasks with a workday. So that's absolutely the pattern here this week. So Friday, you can expect a workday. It's the last day of quarter 3. So as you hopefully know by now, this is your deadline for getting in weeks 8 and 9. So that's due today. So that includes your informative speech. Make sure you get that in. All right. Oh, going the wrong way. Silly woman. I've included here in your slides an overview schedule so you can start anticipating what's happening next. This part where it says week 2, I would look at it from week 9 and week 1 because I've already switched what we're doing for week 2 to make life a little bit easier for you. One thing I have changed this week is I've canceled open office. Students weren't using it. Maybe it didn't fit with their schedule. Not sure. All right, so here's your week 9 checklist to help you remember what you need to get in. And here is where the notes start. Notice on the notes, it says visual from WikiHow. This is a really good place to go if at any point in writing the speech you get stuck. They have really good step-by-step visuals on WikiHow on how to do this, including this image here on what your thesis should look like. So at this point, I'm going to preview your handout as per usual. So this is your cue if you haven't had a chance yet to go ahead and open this up. All right, all of your work for this week is formative. So here, task 1 is choose your topic and complete your research. That's 5 points formative, which as you recall is the 40% aspect of your grade. Task 2 is writing your persuasive speech rough draft using the ABC outline method. So that's 10 points formative. And then finally, the other 5 points formative for this week is writing your persuasive speech final draft. So here's where we'll start today. Task 1, choose topic and complete research. So today I'll give you some ideas on how to pick your topic. You're going to write your topic out right here. It really helps to have a clear thesis that states your argument. So for topic, I shouldn't just see gun rights. I should see your position on it. It should say something like, depending on your opinion and your argument, it could say something like, my persuasive speech is on how important the Second Amendment is to American life, or something like that. It really helps in your thesis to have the problem and then potentially a solution. So for example, another persuasive speech thesis you could have is, healthcare should be universally paid for because in various European countries, they have it paid for by taxes and it ends up costing their citizens less. Anytime you find an argument for somewhere else, that's a stronger argument. We'll talk about that today. So here you're going to write your topic out. And if you aren't sure on your topic, absolutely message me to see if it's okay. There's very few that I'll say no to. When we do research today, just like when we did informative speech research, you're going to put at the first star here either the web address or describe the source. Just like with the informative speech, it's a good idea to have primary sources. So this would be things like government documents, anything that ends in edu or .org, and typically experts. So if you have a parent or a teacher who's really good in this topic you're on, absolutely talk to them, get some expert opinion. Here, just like last time, credibility statement. So just a sentence describing how you know it's a good source of info. Then you're going to, pardon me, take information from your research that you can use in your rough draft. Just like the last time we researched, it's best to write it like this so that you can reference the research in the draft. So, according to Nebraska Spine Hospital, so source right there, a specialist spine center, and then whatever your fact is. So, it's better to set it up like that. You don't want a slide at the end that just says sources. And we're going to find 2 sources today. And then tomorrow we'll continue with writing the rough draft here. So let's switch back to the notes slide to show you these things. So here's how you're going to be graded on your persuasive speech performance. So this is what you're gearing towards at the end. I think it'll help to know this up front so you can pick a topic you can do in the time allotted. All right, so just like last time, 5 of your points is on pace and timing. How well are you in that window of 3 to 5 minutes? And are you going at a pace that either teaches, informs, or is persuasive? Better to be persuasive through most of it, but it's very likely you'll have some teacher voice because you'll be giving us information on the background of the issue. All right, so time window 3 to 5 minutes, just like the last one. This is your last speech that's 3 to 5 minutes. The rest of them are shorter. The next thing you get graded on is PV leg, performing. So I'm going to give you 2 points each for poise, voice, life, eye contact, and gestures. So 10 points for that. Third thing here is your tone persuasive? And have you referenced your research? So when you are performing, I mean, listen for according to, and then your source, and then is your tone an argument? Are you trying to persuade me of what you're saying? So you should be showing some passion for the things you care about. Finally, this is the only speech where we do this. So the speech is practiced to avoid filler words. And I'm going to teach you what those are. You want to have the performance of your speech having less than 5 of these because it helps with credibility. So it's up to 10 points for this, for filler words. So if you have 0 to 5, 10 points. If you have 5 or more, 5 points. So typically on this speech, this is the part where people struggle the most. That and second to referencing their research. Some folks forget that. Notice nowhere on there does it say you have to have a visual. That's not required for this one. You can if you like, but it's not required. I would suggest if you choose to do a visual, keep in mind your audience. So don't show us anything gross or anything horrifying without a warning. If you aren't sure, show it to me. I'll tell you whether or not it's appropriate. Okay, next I want to talk to you a little bit about how do I pick my topic? Typically, it works best to start with thinking about your core beliefs. So last week we talked about a regular belief versus a core belief. Core beliefs are beliefs you've had typically since childhood. They're often reinforced by your family. So that's where you pick up a lot of it, how you're raised. And core beliefs are much more important to the brain than just regular beliefs. So these are things you really truly believe. And a lot of times core beliefs have to do with your moral system, what you believe is right and what you believe is wrong. One good way to start figuring out your core beliefs is look to the values in your entertainment choices. Most entertainment has themes that fit with core beliefs. So I'll give you mine so you can find yours. So, for example, I really enjoy the program Buffy the Vampire Slayer because one of my core beliefs is exactly what she says here. Strong is fighting. It's hard, it's painful, and it's every day. I was definitely raised with this idea that you don't give up and you just keep going. I also have a really morbid sense of humor, so I also think you should find the bright side of life. On the other hand, yes, you should fight every day, but you should also remember what you're fighting for, which is the good life. So I have a little post from the Onion there. And then finally, I really love Dolly Parton. And one of the reasons why I really love Dolly Parton is she speaks from the heart. She tells it like it is, and she's a good person. For example, here she's talking about the Imagination Library. Dolly Parton ships, and it's her own money. She ships to anyone who signs up for it little kids' books. They get a book every month. I think it's from like the ages of birth to like 5. So if you aren't sure what your core beliefs are, look at the things you like to watch. For example, I really enjoy Letterkenny. Maybe you do too. What are the core beliefs of Letterkenny? they repeat them all the time. You stick by your friends no matter what. If someone cheats, we're done. And pitter patter, let's get at her. So when you're picking a topic, here are some ideas on one hand, and then questions to consider. So I'm going to first go over the ideas here. So one place you can look for persuasive topics is anything in our school handbook. Maybe there's a school rule that you want to argue is a good rule and more people should follow it, or vice versa. Maybe you have some criticism about one of our rules. That's a good place you could start. And the handbook is right on the school website. You could also, on the same kind of idea of rules, you could talk about dumb laws versus good laws, or you could just focus in on silly laws that are still on the books. That's a popular persuasive topic. If you're looking to find something to talk about, read the news, watch the news, however you get your news, look to current events. That's a good place to start. I mentioned this earlier, but when you start researching, find precedent. So this is where something has been tried or shown to work somewhere else, and it's a really good piece of evidence for whatever argument you're making, because it's really easy to point to, oh, you don't think it'll work? It worked here, it worked there, it worked in this third place. You get the idea. So for example, if you want to talk about the legalization of marijuana, one precedent that people often bring up is Colorado, because Colorado was one of the first states to openly legalize it, and they're taking that tax money to fix their roads, they're funding schools, etc. So lawyers use precedent to establish cases, and for you as students, precedent is key for writing a solid argument. All right, so I only have two topics that I can think of that are usually on my heck no list. Please don't do them. The first one is abortion. Abortion doesn't work well as a persuasive topic because it's so connected to your belief on when you believe the soul is in a person. Really, that's what it boils down to. And it's really hard to make arguments for that. It's you believe it or you don't. So, no abortion, please. Also, people tend to want to argue that one with visuals and but please no. So please don't do abortion. Also, gender. I would prefer you avoid that as a topic. Same kind of idea. Some folks believe that your sexuality is at birth, and then some people realize gender and sexuality are two different things. I don't want y'all kicking up a can of worms, in other words. So, plus I'm really, really biased on gender. I really, really believe that some folks are born in the wrong body and that they feel that and that's their reality. And I feel like I have no business really commenting on their reality. So that's how I feel about it. Please, let's avoid these two awkward topics. All right. So, questions to consider then while you're choosing your topic. First off, is my topic school appropriate? Notice my two, I only got like two on the no list. You can absolutely talk about whether or not you think the death penalty should be ended or started. You can pick controversial topics. If you aren't sure, like I said, send me a message and I'll let you know how to approach different topics. Next is, can I find credible and unbiased research for my topic? So make sure you're finding things like government stats, precedent from other places, things like that. It's really easy to accidentally end up on an all caps kind of website, and you want to stay away from that. Another thing to think about when you're picking your topic is, what do I wish more people knew about? And then this is closely connected. How would life be better if people heard your argument or solution? Finally, what experiences in your life may be different from most people? That means you have a different perspective to argue from. So, for example, one very popular topic is immigration, because we have many students who've experienced that. So they give their point of view on that topic. Even though you have to have research, you can absolutely include the heart, which means small stories from your life, things you've experienced, what have you. As we discussed last week, those are more persuasive in convincing people than just straight up facts. Okay, so once you've picked your topic, it's time to do the research. already reviewed on the handout where this stuff goes. So a couple more review of the things you need as you do this. So you need two sources, as you saw in the handout. Like I just said a moment ago, be careful of bias. So make sure that whatever you pick has neutral language, they cite their sources, that kind of thing. So a couple more examples. .org and .edu are great sources typically because they're more researched. And these are some things you can write on for your credibility statement. So you could write, this is a good source because it sources and ends in .org. Or this site's a good source because it uses neutral, non-emotional language and presents facts. If you want to pick an expert, it could be my dad's a good source because he's been an expert in the field for over a decade. For example, if you have a police officer member in the family and you want to talk about police reform, that would be a great expert. They're working in that job. All right. So tomorrow we're going to talk about rough draft. Today, your two goals are pick your topic and start researching it. You folks have the rest of the time to do that. You got this. Go for it.